Live and alive.
Live and alive. Ole, come in. Ole, come in this morning. See, you
What
gotta,
was
you gotta, you gotta work on that, bro. You gotta work
what?
on every single morning when you go on live. You have it reversed, the picture in picture, the split screen. Just learn it once, and then you never have to keep switching it again. How's that sound?
What do you mean learn it once? You never have to keep switching it again. You come on late. I could arrange it if you came on before. But
was
it's
I was I on before? Was I backstage before we
yeah,
started?
but I couldn't arrange
Oh,
it
okay.
unless you were on stage.
You know what comes after the word "but"?
What?
Excuses.
Ah, good one. We're talking about excuses today.
No, we're not talking about excuses today. Let's see who I can say good morning to. We're switching up the times. We're trying different times. So hopefully, oh, what's up, Codex? So hopefully, we will be able to kind of maybe in the new year, like hammer down a time that works for everybody. I felt like 7:30 was a little bit too early because a lot of people weren't able to make it for 7:30 to be on. But I did see a lot of people watch the replay. It's just that my first appointment is usually 8 o'clock, so 8:15 maybe sometimes. So that's why we start early. But we'll see. We're gonna play around with the time for the rest of this year, and then we'll try to get something solid for next year, so people know what to expect every morning. But good morning to everybody online. Conversations with Jay, as well as the Win Column moderators. Absolutely. Second. There we go. So what's going on, see?
I am here, man. I was on TikTok looking for some videos, and there's this guy that's going viral
Oh,
because
looking
he's
at videos.
hmm?
You said you were looking at videos?
Yeah. And there's this guy that's going viral because he just talks a whole bunch of stuff about like the black community and black people and stuff like that. And I'm just like, bro, you're black. But some
People
of the things,
people go viral for that rage bait stuff, right? So
yeah. So it's like it's crazy though to see that people you can if you look at him, you can tell that he really believes what he's saying. And I have a
no, he
video
doesn't.
here. No, because you said that people go viral for that rage baity stuff, right? So he's not just saying it for saying its sake to like get clicks and views. It just seems like he feels very strongly about it. So I
Well,
have a video here.
before you go onto that video, there's something that I wanted to mention before I forget, because I will forget if we move forward. Have you been seeing this? You know who Ebro is, right?
Ebro. It
Yeah,
sounds
he's a
familiar, but
radio
I'm not
DJ.
sure.
Yeah, he's a radio DJ here in New York. He was on Hot 97 for years and years.
Mhm.
Um, and he was one of the bigger radio DJs here in New York. And I guess they either got fired, like his show, Ebro in the Morning. It used to
Mhm.
rival the Breakfast Club because it comes on the same time.
Mhm.
But it's a different radio station. Breakfast Club's Power 105. But the Breakfast Club has like gotten the better of that show. Actually, the whole of Power 105 has gotten the better of Hot 97, probably over the last 15 years. But back when I was growing up, it was Hot 97. Like when I was growing up, it was always Hot 97. So, anyways, their show's been taken off air. And then during that battle back in, like, I think it was 20, I think it was 20, was it 2023 or 2024? The battle with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. It's 2024 or 2023? I think it's 2024. I think it was last year, right? Yeah, 2024. It's just because we're at the end of 2025 now, so it seems like it's 2023. But anyways, Ebro seemed to a little bit like champion Drake a little bit. Um, sorry, he seemed to champion Kendrick Lamar a little bit. And then he also works for Apple Music, and he's the one that did the first interview with Kendrick Lamar after he had that rap battle just before the Super Bowl, as his new album dropped, right? So I guess Drake was looking at him like the ops, right? So when his show went off air, I guess Drake jumped into his DMs and was like, "Die slow" or something like that, and like calling him a kitty cat, you know, um, like a bunch of stuff. and then so everybody's been reacting to it, right? So everybody in the hip hop community and culture at large have been reacting to this back and forth because Ebro on his next show, because he still does his show, it's just not on Hot 97 anymore. He does it on YouTube, I think.
Mhm.
And on his next show, which was earlier this week, he exposed these DMs, right? He's the one that like said, "Oh, look at these DMs" or whatever, read them, or I guess he got his co-host to read them. Everybody's reaction to that is, well, not everybody, but there's some people's reaction to that is like, "Oh yeah, I'm petty as hell too." Like Drake looked at him as the ops because he championed Kendrick Lamar and said Kendrick Lamar won the battle, blah blah. And Drake's petty, and I'm petty, I'm petty just like him, and it just I don't know what the state of men is, but I didn't know when being easily bothered and petty was something to brag about. I don't know when this switch happened, because to me, growing up, um, and I wasn't really like I grew up in a house of all women. Like I was born into my grandmother's house, right? So trust me, I know petty. I grew up with my two aunties, my grandmother, and my cousin, who was like my sister and my mother, like one girl, four women, right? So to me, I seen petty, right? Some of them growing up, they were petty, right? Are you frozen? Seems like you are, but I'll continue anyways. So yeah, I've seen petty, and to me, um, that was never really a male trait. So I think you're still frozen. Let me see if you're frozen online. See if C's frozen online, y'all. He is frozen online, but I'm going to continue anyways. To me, I've never known this to be something to brag about. I've never known petty to be something to brag about. Like I'm petty, I'm petty. They say like 50 Cent making this Diddy documentary. Oh, you don't mess with 50. He's petty. But to me, it's always been that shows sign of weakness, right? Stoicism is more appropriate, not just for men, just for people altogether. I think stoicism is more appropriate, where it's like, no, I'm unbothered. I'm keeping it moving. I'm bulletproof. I'm Teflon. I don't need to address every little thing. All these things aren't going to bother me. Things like that. That's just how I look at it, and so that's kind of where I'm coming from when I hear stuff like people bragging about being petty. And I really hope that other people would champion this idea of not being bothered, of not letting these little things get to you, and not having to comment and do little backhanded things, or passive aggressive things, or sneaky things, or behind the scenes stuff, just because you're bothered and you're quote unquote petty. So that's just my little mini rant about that. But as C is, I think he got kicked off. Maybe something's wrong with his internet. I just want to share what I was reading this morning, which is how to think for yourself. How to think for yourself. And so again, this kind of stems from this whole petty thing. And I think a lot of people, they hear somebody else say, "Oh, you're petty," and then they realize that it's very hard not to be bothered. Right? It's very hard to stay stoic. It's very hard to have tough skin. It's very hard to let the water just drip off of your back like a duck. It's very, very difficult. So when somebody starts championing something like petty and saying that's great, oh, I'm petty as hell, you realize that it's now acceptable. So you just jump into the being petty and not really thinking for yourself. So there's 8 things based on the essay I was reading this morning that I wanted to present to you guys, that mostly questions, but there are a few action items that really help you to think for yourself. All right.
I'm
So
back.
the first, no problem. You missed my petty rant. You can
Oh,
watch the replay back.
yo, bro, I started panicking just now because this has never happened before. The power that we have just went out. So I was like, oh my gosh, did the live stream is the live stream gonna end? Is Jay will you be able to continue and stuff? So I'm happy to see that you're still able to continue and it didn't end the live stream.
Oh,
Whew.
I held down the show. Don't worry about it.
The
I'm the A
feeling,
mic.
that feeling feels like when you feel like you lost your phone, but it was in your pocket the entire time.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I was just about to get into a few ways of thinking for yourself and why that's actually really, really important to make sure that you're constantly thinking for yourself. You're not allowing other people to kind of make decisions for you. And so the first thing I wrote down from this essay that I was reading this morning is first, before I get to the 8 things, you have to consciously choose this. If you aren't thinking about thinking for yourself, it's so easy to just not think for yourself. It's so easy to get carried away and have other people think for you. Not only just tell you and like physically think, not physically think, blatantly think for you, like tell you, hey, you like this, you don't like that type thing, but also we get our minds kind of twisted from the algorithms that we look at on our screens, from the society we live on, from things we watch on TV, from the conversations we have with our friends, from the music that we listen to. There's so many outside influences that are constantly shaping our thoughts and our opinions. And so we got to do this double check a lot of times. Number one thing I wrote down was, what's the origin of your opinion? Like, where did this opinion actually come from? If you really like sit down and examine a lot of our opinions, they come from things that have just been, presented to us when we were younger, right? Things that when before we even had a chance to even learn to think for ourselves, when we're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, these things are thrusted upon us, and then it just becomes engraved into our minds. And it's really important to really check yourself. I remember having this conversation with one of my clients, and he was struggling with a few things, and we kind of boil it down to the fact that he had no intentional value system. Now, you guys have heard me speak about value systems a lot, but he had no intentional value system. In other words, the value system that he had was just inherited, right? It was a default value system. He didn't actually think about this, and this and say, okay, based on this, and this is how I value things, or this is how I move. These are the things that I don't like. These are things I do like. This is the way I behave. This is the way I don't behave. This is the way I want to see myself. This is the way I don't want to see myself. And so because of that, he was kind of lost. And when I say kind of lost, he really didn't stand for anything, because all of these values that he did have, they weren't actually chosen by him. So before anything, you have to consciously choose it, but then you have to say what's the origin of that? And then you got to put it to the test. So number 2 is your evidence based in emotion, or is your evidence based in reason? Okay. Oftentimes, the evidence that we find, it's how we feel, right? It's not necessarily what it is, right? It's how we feel. It's not necessarily what it is. So our evidence for whatever we believe or we think has to be based in reason. This makes sense. This is logical. This is something that I can get behind, not because I feel, right? Not because I feel like it's great, but because I can see how it would benefit myself, my family, um, my future, so on and so forth, right? So the evidence has to be based in logic, in reason, not in emotion. Okay. Number 3, who does your opinion benefit, right? So if I do think like this, and this is my opinion, who else is benefiting from this? Because oftentimes when it is based in emotion, right, it's usually only benefiting a small few. But when it's based in reason, it benefits the masses, which leads me to another one, number 4. Why might opposing ideas be valid? So, in order to understand who it benefits, especially if it only benefits a small group, then you might say, well, it is valid to have an opposing idea, seeing that that benefits the masses, or might even benefit me even more. So you got to, what we used to call defense when we're hiring, when I was trained as a recruiter, um, there was a process that we had to go to when we were hiring somebody new for the team. And if I made a decision to hire somebody, the rest of the team, they went through a process called defense, in which they said, why are you hiring this person? And then they would take the person out for lunch, or a team, like kind of like a group event, right? And then they would just I don't want to say hammer the person, but very question the person and ask the person a lot of these questions to basically block the person from getting hired. that you put them through that. Okay, Jay said this person is smart. Jay said this person is diligent. Jay said this person is respectful. Jay said this person is very works very efficiently. Jay said this person is a doer, so on and so forth. So let's see if this person can defend what Jay is saying about them. And that's basically putting yourself in the other person's shoes, or testing that, right? So you have to see what the opposing ideas are and see if they're actually valid. Number 5, why do I feel the way I do feel about this in this moment? So remember, the first one was the origin of my opinion. Why do I feel like this? Why do I think like this? Where did it come from? What's the origin about it? But then also we change over time, right? So we could have went through amazing experiences, and then that's going to shape our opinion when we come back to something that looks familiar to the amazing experiences that we had, right? But if you look at it, you have to say, what in this moment is giving me this thought process? Sometimes we went through a traumatic experience, right? Maybe it's a negative, very negative experience, and now we attach that negative experience to this particular thought, feeling, or view. A perfect one is, I'll give you my example. My grandmother. My grandmother hated when people drink. She hated it. She hated it. She hated it. And so oftentimes people wouldn't drink around her because it just made her feel uncomfortable. Why? Because she grew up with a father that was a drunk, and that used to go drink, come home, beat the heck out of her mother, her sister, and then she married a husband that would do the same exact thing. Right. And so she had only traumatic experiences when it came to people drinking, that to the point that she said, I don't want anybody to drink. Drinking is bad, all that stuff. So people, out of respect and to make sure that she was always comfortable, would either not drink around her or drink very little around her at family events, family gatherings, stuff like that. But my point is that that was, if she was saying, how do I think for myself, she would have, or my grandmother, I shouldn't say she, my grandmother, if she said it again, my grandmother would have looked at this and said, okay, why is it that I feel like this at this moment? And is it necessary that I feel like this at this moment? Okay. Number 6 is research it, right? Go and look at other things. I was watching a video by Sean G yesterday. He sent me, and he was talking about, him being at the trial and having a unique perspective with the small few group of people that were there, because it wasn't televised, right? It wasn't televised, and you had to have been there at the trial in order to understand what's going on, or listen to somebody who's in there in order to get that information. So you have to research it. You can't just have an opinion just like that. And trust me, we're all guilty of this, myself included, very, very guilty of not doing the proper research all the time without having an opinion. And then when somebody brings me, some research, or did you know X, Y, and Z, I'm like, oh, I didn't even consider that. Right? I didn't consider that that's the case. And sometimes the research is about my own self, or my own culture, or my own community, that I didn't even consider, because I'm in it. So it's so hard to see it when you're in it. Right. So do some research. Number 7 I wrote down was, what's the outcome if everyone in the world thought the way that you did? What would be the outcome? Would the world be a very, very such a better place for everybody else? Or is it just benefiting you and whoever you want it to benefit, right? So what's the outcome if everybody in the world thought the way you did? And the last thing I wrote down was, envision your most actualized self, the best version of yourself. And what would that person say about the issue? All right. The person that, is exactly what you're striving to be. And you might be that person right now. What does that person say about this issue? So those are the 8 things that you could do to really and truly think for yourself. All right. Now, if for those of you guys who are just joining us, I actually brought this up because of the whole petty thing. And I've noticed this trend of people saying, I'm petty, or this person is petty, as a good thing. And I've never known it to be a good thing. I've never known thin skin, easily bothered, that kind of stuff. I've never known those things to be good human qualities. I've usually known stoicism. It doesn't bother me. Don't let it get to you. Stay focused. Tough skin. Keep it moving. I've usually known those to be great human qualities. So I don't know where this thing came from, but it seems to me like a lot of people aren't thinking for themselves.
I feel like what I feel like why it seemed like people are more petty now is because of social media, because they feel like everything that they're experiencing they should post it or put it up on social media. They should take to social media, especially celebrities. They wanna let people know that this is happening, so they can create more buzz around their name, and they want media companies to also talk about it as well. So the more you talk about them, then the more people are gonna listen to them. It's all just a chain reaction and stuff, I feel. So it's not necessarily that they're petty, but they're using every opportunity, everything they get into as like a PR kind of strategy.
I could see your point of view. I do think it is necessary that they're petty though, because they say it. They say I'm petty as right. They say I'm petty as, or oh yeah, you know he's petty. You know who
Well, I
says it
mean,
all the time? You know who says that all the time? Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club always talks about, oh, I'm petty. That's not a good thing. You're easily bothered. It's not a good thing. You take everything to heart. That's not a good thing.
yeah. I
And
can't
you're a
defend that
father.
one.
Are you raising your kids to be like that? Or when a child makes fun of your daughter or your son, right? And they come home and he made fun of me. Do you say, okay, be petty, and this is what you do? You're gonna put gum in his hair when he's not looking, or put a spider in his bag? No, you're gonna say, hey, come on, be tough. Don't worry about that. You know you're not that, right? You know you're not a frog, so don't let people bother you. You know that. So it doesn't make any sense, because I couldn't imagine somebody raising their child to be petty and saying, this is exactly how I want my child to be. I mean, I'm sure people do it. I just haven't seen it. And I haven't seen people brag about it. Right. So I just don't think it's a good look to just walk around and say, yeah, I'm petty. That just makes you look like a fill in
Well,
the
couldn't
blanks.
it be seen that there's, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, but couldn't it be seen that they're trying to set the expectation that I'm always going to make a big deal out of what can be used as a PR strategy?
I'd love it, because you just played your cards, like what Christina said just here at the bottom. And people's perception of you will know that. My point is, Christina's right. At the end of the day, now you gave me your move, so now I know I could push your buttons and I can make you do stuff because you're petty.
Mm.
If you can't bother me, I'm not giving you the codes to access a reaction out of me. You don't have the codes, right? So it won't matter. But you're telling me you're petty. You're telling me you're bothered by this and you're bothered by that. All right, I can get a reaction out of you, and I can basically control you. Control you. You gave me the codes. Thanks.
Okay.
Like, give me the power. Why don't you? Fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll
Mm.
keep the power for myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
My
I
friend sent me a
don't.
video of my friend sent me a video of LeBron James the other day, way back in the day, with when Kobe and Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade were on the court with him in an All-Star game. And LeBron James, basically, he made two bad plays in a row because he didn't want to shoot the ball because he was afraid to miss. And my friend just put, like, whatless, like useless, like, what are you doing? You're one of the best players on the court. You're the best player on your team. Go and make it happen to win the game. And then they started making fun of him, literally on the court. Kobe Bryant's making fun of him. Carmelo Anthony's like, "What are you doing?" Stuff like that. And I responded saying, um, his it's always been his weakness between the ears. Between the ears has always been his weakness, right? And that's why people can get a response out of him. That's why people can get into his head. That's why in some of the most important moments, he doesn't show up the way you would expect somebody of his caliber of player to show up. That's why you'll score 11 points in an NBA Finals game, right? That's why you'll score 8 points in a playoff game, an NBA Finals game, right? Even though you're the best player on the court, you will shrink sometimes. You don't even want to shoot the ball sometimes, like in 2011. So my point is that it, if I have the blueprint to your mind, then I have the advantage in everything. And you're showing me your cards when you say I'm petty and everything's going to bother me.
Yeah, and And when that happens as well, it's easy to make the person look like a fool.
Unless they're LeBron James or Drake or somebody who just has super delusional fans.
Oh gosh, speaking about delusional, there's this. So I mentioned earlier that I was watching some videos on TikTok, and I saw this guy. He's going viral because he's a black guy, and he's just going all out talking up crap about black people and black culture and black community. And I have a video that I wanted to show you guys. Hear your thoughts about it, and anybody else who wants to jump in the chat and tell me what they think about it as well. But it's just crazy that he actually believes this stuff.
Yeah, and in the meantime, while you're playing the video, you should drop. Do we have time? Yeah, play the video. Just play the video, and then I'll see if we have time. Just shoot this message out. Give me a second.
We're offended by everything. Then we demand respect while we disrespect everyone else.
The video's choppy.
How do we go from a people so strong?
Can you stop the video? It was choppy there. Yeah.
Hold on, let me start it over.
I think it might be your connection. Yeah, I think it just might be your connection.
Let me try again.
Fuck black culture. We don't want to take accountability for anything. Yet we're offended by everything. Then we demand respect while we disrespect everyone else because we're fucking entitled. How do we go from a people so strong and resilient, hardworking and honest, to what the fuck we have today? Our communities suck, our schools suck, our households are dysfunctional. We have so many problems, and we don't want to acknowledge it. Our music sucks. The fucking women carry themselves like whores. I mean, we have a whole host of problems when we talk about culture, the arts. It's fucking shameful. I'm tired as a black man having the lowest of the low being the representatives of the black community. We need to stop letting a bunch of fucking entertainers and clowns be the representatives of black people. Black people fail because we don't have leaders, we have entertainers. We don't take shit seriously. We play a fucking game and everyone's tired of the game that we're playing. We don't take care of our own. We don't respect our communities. We don't do a single fucking thing for ourselves, but we have the audacity to complain about what other people are doing and what they're not doing for us.
It's just rage bait. But you said you think he believes it.
Yeah, because his whole channel, like from the first video, is just built on that. And you don't just come up with those stuff just because you're okay. Let me find a creative way to rage bait people. It's all about that.
I'll be honest. First of all, I don't think he believes anything that he's saying. But there's two things I do want to say. Number one, I do agree with one thing he said, is it can't just be a bunch of entertainers that are your leaders, because entertainers aren't leaders, they're entertainers. So that's the first thing. And the entertainers never asked to be leaders. They asked to be entertainers. And they're thrust into leadership and role model situations. I think it was Vince Staples. I was watching something the other day, and he said, like, I'm a entertainer. I'm not your, like, don't listen to me. Like, I'm not your role model. I've heard some NBA players say that in the past, like, I'm not your role model. Now, with that fame and with that in that position, you should take up the responsibility to try to be the best role model that you can be. But at the same time, I know that you didn't ask to be that. You asked to be a basketball player. Right? You asked to be a musician or an actor or something like that. Not every great actor is going to be the Denzel Washington that's also a great leader, right? Some of the great actors will be a Will Smith.
Or
right?
Kobe.
Or yeah, and not every great basketball player is going to be like a Kobe Bryant, right? So, which by the way, Kobe Bryant, he wasn't always the greatest role model either. He became a great role model in the second half of his career, but in the first half of his career, I remember saying many times, "I love Kobe on the basketball court. Outside of the basketball court, I could take him or leave him. I don't think he's that great of a leader." Right? He grew into that over time because he started in the NBA when he was 17 years old, and we had to watch him grow up. Right? But it wasn't until 29, 30, 31 that he actually became and stepped into that leadership role the way that you would know him for the second half of his career. But that being said, my point is, I do agree with that one part, which is the entertainers are not necessarily great leaders or role models, and they didn't ask to be. However, I don't know what black people he's talking about, but the black people I know and surround myself with and hang out with are great. I don't know what he's talking about.
So there's a few
Where is
things.
he? Where is he seen it? Where is he finding these people that he's talking about? Is it his algorithm that's pushing stuff on him? Like, where is he finding these people that he's talking about? I'd like to know.
Yeah, there's a few things he said that stood out to me. And it was like, our schools suck, our music suck. First off, it doesn't sound like he understand where all that's coming from. Like, you,
Research right here. What was number on the list of how to think for yourself? Number 6 was research it. Why does education, why is it worse in public schools, in low income or neighborhoods with a lot of minorities in it? Why is it worse? Well, because it's funded by property tax,
mm,
right? So you have low income public schools in low income neighborhoods. They're obviously going to have less funding, which it shouldn't be funded by that, because that's what you call systemic racism. If you make, if you need a, if you have, if the statistics say that the higher the education, the better you will be at getting a good job, making good income, stuff like that, the more educated you are, right? It's not true across the board, but generally speaking, the more educated you are, the better chance you have of earning a higher income, right? That's just a fact. But if you don't, if you base the education off of where the child, it just so happens to be born, then you're automatically handicapping them from the start, so that they can't get, they're not going to have the best public school, so they're not going to have the best university, they're not going to be able to get into the best universities, which is going to also get you the best degrees, which is also going to be able to get you the best jobs, which is also going to be able to get you the best pay.
mm. This reminds me of the conversation that we had previously, where I was talking about how the government, they made it seem like Vibes Cartel, which is a popular artist here, um, that his music was influencing society, and it was promoting crime and stuff. And I correct me if I'm wrong, you had said that it's not that it's his music, it's just you're a product of your society, and what people are singing, what people create their music about is um what they experience in their life. Which also
Yes.
takes me back to the point that he made, which is that he said that black people's music are trash. Black people are singing about their experience and what their upbringing and all of that. So it depends on what he considers to
I
be
don't know
trash.
what he's talking about. Music is their music is trash, when literally the the people that win the most Grammys, like, and Grammys are voted by mostly non-blacks. So I don't know what he's talking about. Some of the best musicians in the history of the world, I don't know what he's talking about. All music came from black people: jazz, rock, country, rap. It doesn't matter, right? Like, I don't know what he's exactly getting at or what he's talking about. Historically, it is obviously not true. But all anybody has to do is say, all right, let me see where country music came from. Just go ask ChatGPT. Just do your research. Let me see where rock music came from, rock and roll. Let me see where jazz music came from. Let me see where R&B, hip hop, rap. It doesn't matter, right? And then let me see the people with the most Grammy nominations in the history of the Grammys. We're talking Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Michael Jackson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about, like, let me see, like, who the top rated artists of all time are on Apple Music or on Spotify Music or on any of these. So I don't know what exactly he's speaking about. Maybe you just don't like that type of music, but it's really hard to not like either music that was made from a black artist, or music that was influenced by black culture, or music that historically was created by black people in America and beyond, right? It's like, it's very difficult, because black people created reggae, soca. Where did reggaeton come from? Black people. It's like, so all your Bad Bunny that you dance to and you listen to and you love came from Black Latins, right? From Panama. If you just research it, reggaeton came from Panama, from Black Latins that took that culture from the Caribbean because they were placed there when they built the canal. They they recruited Caribbean people to move to Panama to build the Panama Canal, and then the Caribbean people stayed there, and they brought their influence in food and music and so on and so forth, and it ended up becoming reggaeton, which then went to the rest of Central and South America. And then you get an artist like Bad Bunny. So I don't know what exactly he's talking about. He sounds like an idiot. And that's why I said I don't even think he believes it. What I think he's trying to do is rage bait. And if that's not the case, he just hates himself.
Yeah, there's another video where he was talking about Black-owned businesses, and I couldn't find the original video. There's just a whole bunch of people reacting to that one, and so I just didn't want to play that one. But he was basically saying how Black-owned businesses, they have the worst service and stuff like that.
So we just debunked two of his stuff. Play it one more time, and I'm going to tell you when to pause it. I'm just going to say debunk, 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 debunk.
Oh, okay.
Black culture. We don't want to take accountability for anything.
Pause.
Yet we're offended.
Offended by everything, don't want to take accountability for anything. See, you know me, right? I'm a Black person. I live in America. Who do you know that takes accountability more than me?
I can't think of anybody else.
Who do you know that just went on a freaking rant to say, don't be petty and offended by anything? Be tough, keep going, keep moving.
Yeah.
What is he talking about? I'm a perfect example. And there are many like me. That's my point. There are many like me. All my friends are like me, right? I don't have friends that are offended easily. I don't have friends. So I don't know. That's why I said I don't know which ones he's talking about or he's seeing. Maybe it's his algorithm, but in the real world, interacting within the real world, I rarely see it.
Oh, there was one more thing he said in the video that stood out to me too, was Black people are so entitled. How can the race that gets oppressed the most be so entitled? Like, what?
Thank you. There you go. There you go. Something, so a place that, and it's very funny because let me give you the contrast. Okay, let me give you the contrast about something that is somebody who is entitled and somebody who is not. Okay, I came to a realization. I don't know. I remember exactly when it was, but I came to a realization that the majority, I'm not going to say any color of skin because it doesn't matter, whatever the majority is in your society, in your country, or in your school or your workplace or whatever, the majority, they never actually, there's a book called White Fragility. You guys should read that book. It's called White Fragility. It's written by a white woman. And she was just talking about how it's literally impossible for a white person to ever grow up thinking about racism because they're in the majority. Like it's like you can't think about it. It's never going to be your experience because you're in the majority. So if it's sexism, if it's ageism, right? If you're just hating on short people or something like that, like if you're in the majority, you will not be able to experience what it feels like to be in the minority. It won't even register in your brain because it's not part of your life experience. It won't. You could even be told about it, but you still won't get it. You still won't understand because you're not in the minority. You're in the majority. So let's just say majority and minority. Let me illustrate this very simple. Every single thing that I've done growing up, I've always had to think, what if this doesn't work out? What's my plan B, C, D, E, F, G? I got to make sure I got to make sure I do this as precisely as possible because anything could go wrong. Oh, but I also have to make sure because I know people are looking at me like this and they might have a preconceived notion of this. So I got to make sure I'm moving like this. I know there's people like over here, this guy, that have their algorithm filled with nonsense about the minority. So I have to make sure that I don't fit anything that they might already think that is negative. Okay. Because you have to move like you're in the minority. Then I got friends in the majority. They don't move at all with any caution or anything. They just think the world is theirs. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's just go there. Oh, yeah, let's do that. I said, what? You don't want to think about. Uh, the first time I saw one of my friends in the majority speak to a police officer, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get killed. We're going to get killed. All right. They don't, it doesn't even register. So this mother effer talking about entitlement. Entitlement is not what comes out of your mouth. Entitlement is the way you move around in the world. You can see the entitlement by how you move. And the majority moves without a care in the world because they don't know anything different. Even if you're, for example, a European white that comes to America, you're in the majority now. Minority now. I bet you that European whites that come to America, it's in their mind, I've got to move in a certain way. I've got to move in a certain way, even though they're in the visual majority, they're in the minority. So what this thing about entitlement sounds, it sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy. Let me tell you, there's a minority person out there right now that is working 3 jobs. What majority person out there right now is working 3 jobs? They rather sit down and wait for the right job. No, not that one. No, not McDonald's. Ew. Like, no, not that one. No, not that one. But the minority person is out there working 3 jobs. Like when I was working 77 hours a week. So it's the way you move around the world that tells you how entitled you are, not the things that come across your algorithm. So this guy just sounds foolish.
Yeah. All right. Let me play a rest.
By everything. Then we demand respect while we disrespect everyone else because we're fucking entitled. How do we go from a people so strong and resilient, hardworking and honest, to what the fuck we have today? Our communities suck, our schools suck, our...
Oh, he was. I was gonna say, you didn't. So he says our community sucks. There's no closer knit community. Trust me, I know. I've lived in both communities. Okay, there's no closer knit community. When I lived in the hood, when I first started in real estate, I still lived in the hood. My apartment was here. My balcony was here. My divider was here with my neighbor. I play music. My neighbor comes over, leans over the balcony, turn it up, play it, open your door. Her cat used to crawl under the little barrier for the balcony, walk into my crib. I used to be like, your cat's here again. I'm outside with my friends. We're hanging out. We're having a drink. We're listening to music. She's on her side barbecuing. She says, hey, here's a plate for you guys. 111. I say, hey, here's a drink for you. We laugh. We hang out. What is he talking about? Like, what is he talking about? Our communities suck. Our communities are awesome. Our communities are great. You know what I'm saying? Now, is there uptick in certain things about, like, violence, things like that? Of course, because that's what happens when you come from lower income places, right? That's just what happens. But that's not because of a particular color. That's because of a particular circumstance. But as far as communities, cookouts, like everything, dancing in the streets in the summer here in New York. You go to Harlem in the summertime in New York. There's always some fun stuff to do. There's always something amazing happening. Now, living in other communities, which I do now, my last building I was in, I was the only black person in the building, in the entire building, right? People don't even say hi in the elevator. It's awkward. Just sit. Like, you don't even, you pass them in your hall, like nobody even, what are you talking about? Nobody cares. Nobody works. The only time people are going to talk to you is to complain about something. So what he's talking about is not my experience. Again, it's not my lived experience, and it's not the lived experience for most people. It's whatever he's seeing on his algorithm. That's what that is. And going back to the cartel thing real quick, because I didn't get a chance to correct you. I wasn't saying that his music is not influential. I was saying that his music is only based off of his own lived experience. So if the Jamaican government doesn't want people to make music like that, then don't put them in neighborhoods where they have to live like that. It's that simple. Like, if you create a breeding ground for crime, and then a person grows up in this place that is crime ridden, and then they participate in the crime, or at least see it around them, and in order to escape from that mentally, they have therapy, they write songs. That's their therapy. That's their version of therapy. They that's their outlet for the nonsense that they're living around. Or maybe they're trying to make money to get out of it, so that they start making this music about what they're seeing and what they're experiencing in life. You cannot blame that person for making that music if you put them in there, if you put them in that spot. That's like chopping off somebody's leg and saying, why can't you run? You know what I'm saying? Why are you hopping around? It don't make no sense.
Households are dysfunctional. We have so many problems, and we don't want to acknowledge it. Our music sucks.
Wait, stop.
Women carry them.
This guy said households are dysfunctional. Can somebody raise their hand? In the comment section, write it. If you're here live on the chat, write it. What's your household like? Because guess who else's household is dysfunctional? Everybody's. Everybody's household is dysfunctional. Have you come from a family? Everybody in the world will say, I'll raise my hand first to tell you my family's crazy. How many times everybody says that? Everybody's household is dysfunctional. What is he talking about?
Themselves like whores. I mean, we have a whole host of problems when we talk about
And then
culture.
he said their women are whores, he says.
Arts. It's fucking shame.
That's what he.
I'm
No,
tired of
stop.
black man.
No, stop. Put me on the screen, please. He said, no, you could be on the screen. It's fine. He said their women are whores. Ask them to step into any college campus anywhere in America and tell me your definition of a quote unquote whore, and if these people fit that definition, and if they're purple, pink, white, black, Indian, Chinese, whatever. Like, you to say that one type of woman in one type of race is a whore would mean that you're trying to say it's more than other races, which is just not true. It's a proportionate amount across. It's just like when somebody says, I've heard this many times, oh, black men, women will say that to me. Black men, oh my gosh, black men are just the worst. And I tell them, all men are the worst. If you go to any country, they're going to say, my country's men are the worst. You go to Poland, women are going to say, oh, yeah, I know, but you don't understand Polish men. You go to Serbia, they're going to say, I get it, but you trust me, Serbian men are the worst. If you go to Nigeria, they're going to say, no, trust me, Nigerian men are the worst. Our men are, actually, Nigeria, they might not say that, because I've heard some women say that they love, Nigerian women say that they love Nigerian men. But my point is, it doesn't matter what country. You go to Jamaica, they're going to say Jamaican men are the worst. You go to Trinidad, they're going to say you're going to say Trinis are the worst. I just saw a post the other day where the woman said men from Brooklyn are the worst. It's just men. It's
Wait,
just
why would you say men from Brooklyn are the worst? What's so unique about Brooklyn?
she was giving particular areas. I don't want to get into it, but she's giving particular neighborhoods in Brooklyn. And it's like, oh, this is what they do. Yeah. So, and then she started calling out one guy, and she's like, and if you meet blah blah blah, trust me, he's the worst. Ladies, stay away from him.
Oh boy.
But that's just men. It doesn't matter. That's just men that women are going to have that issue with. So, and it's the same thing where men are going to say that oftentimes about women in their culture. Right? People complain about people. That's it. Show me, do the research, show me that Black women are, and I'm assuming that his version of whore is multiple uh, uh, S partners at a time. Show me the statistic that shows that Black women have more multiple S partners at a time than any other race in America. Show me that. You can't.
Arts, it's fucking shameful. I'm tired as a black man having the lowest of the low being the representatives of the black community. We need to stop letting a bunch of fucking entertainers and clowns be the representatives of black people. Black people fail because we don't have leaders, we have entertainers. We don't take shit seriously. We play a fucking game and everyone's tired of the game that we're playing. We don't take care of our own. We don't respect our communities. We don't do a single fucking thing for ourselves, but we have the audacity to complain about what other people are doing and what they're not doing for us.
You know what? You know what he has the audacity to say?
All that crap.
No, we. He has the audacity to say we. You're putting yourself in there too, buddy boy. Because I don't know who he's talking about, but it's not me. He just said why we fail. I'm not failing. And the people that I know and have surrounded myself with, they're not failing either. And most of them are Black.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, he said we don't take care of our own communities. Most of the people who manage to become successful to the point where they are able to take care of their communities and give back, they're always doing that.
I had a basketball league that started as a basketball camp, then a basketball league. I had a mentorship. I did a partnership with the church. I'm doing a partnership with the school in Brooklyn in April. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I have no idea what this guy's talking about. I really don't have any idea. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what people he's doing, like he's surrounding himself with, but maybe you just need a new group of people and that's it. Or maybe it's just his algorithm, but that's not the lived experience in his life. And I'm not trying to say that any particular culture or minority or anything like that is perfect or bad or whatever. Everybody has issues and problems. Everybody. And we get better over time. Doesn't matter if you're talking about a business or a neighborhood or a school or a culture or whatever. There's no perfect ones. But you just sound like you hate yourself at that point. And it's just the same as, and let's just bring this home to my business in real estate. The agents that say real estate sucks, real estate's a waste of time, you work so hard and you don't get paid, and blah, blah, blah. Usually those are the ones that aren't either surrounded by good ones or doing well themselves. Then you have the ones that say, it's a tough job, but it's worth it. Then you have the ones that say, I can make as much money as I want in this business. There's no limit. Then you have the ones that say, once you really get a good system going, then it's sky's the limit from there. Then you have the ones that say, it took me about 3 years to really build this business, but it's running itself now. Right? You have those ones. Those are the ones that are going to be successful. And those are the ones that are experiencing success. So you could take the attitude of this guy and just put yourself in a box with a bunch of mirrors that you want to smash because you hate yourself. Or you could break down the walls. When problems and stuff come your way, you do all of these things, like I said. What's the origin of this? Is your evidence based on emotion or reason? Who does your opinion benefit? Why might opposing ideas be valid? Why do I feel the way I do about it in this moment? Did I research it? What's the outcome if everyone in the world thought the way I do? And then I'm going to envision my most actualized best self and see what they say about that issue. If he did these 8 steps, he'd probably be successful.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be because
On TikTok, hating himself, roasting
no, but
himself. Yes,
none of what he'd say would make sense if he asked himself all those questions either. None of
that's
what
correct.
yeah.
That's
So
correct. If he went through those 8 steps, he wouldn't have made the video. As simple as that. He wouldn't have made the video. But like I told you, I don't even think he believes that stuff. I think he's rage baiting. I think he's doing it on purpose to get clicks, views, and engagement. But I just want everybody to know, it doesn't matter where your family's from, what your culture is, what the color of your skin is. At the end of the day, you, first of all, are not a representative of just you. You're a representative of everything about you and where you come from, including your own family even. Okay? So just remember that if you're on here, you're representing everybody. And number 2, if you're spewing negativity and hate, it's very, very difficult to expect positivity to come back. If you're spewing negativity and hate into the world, it's very, very difficult to expect positivity and good things to come back to you in your life. Right, y'all, go and be great. I got to run because I have 8 minutes late for my appointment, but I appreciate everybody being here on the live. I think this was one of the better ones that we did in the last week. So if you are on here, if you're watching it, go and share it with somebody, and run up the likes, guys. Run up the comments. I appreciate everybody. Go and be great. Greatness is a choice made every single moment in every single day of your life. Peace.
In the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Like a helicopter, spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Oh, when me choppers them. 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 Rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me. Yo, spin your rags in the air like a chopper. Wave your rags like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Round and round like a helicopter. Spin your rags in the air like a chopper. Helicopters, we drunk cause we drink like a fish in the water. So high is like the world spinning back, start dripping with sweat, but it don't really matter. The music making me ball out. We see ladies and we call out. Them girls and them whining all out. Look, I fight in the back, them brawl out. What? Me no business about that. Girls on me mind, so me thinking about that. Woman in the place, so me hunting for that. Bumpers in me face, so me on the attack. Just give me Henny, yo, give me Stag. No racial thing, white oak, Johnny Black. Oh gosh, I got catch a jet lag. 1919 does have me feeling high. Like a helicopter, spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they